Let's tinker. Thanks a lot, ma'am, for such an insightful presentation. I think Atal Tinkering Lab and the entire philosophy behind contains what all we have been discussing, like to really induce the intrinsic innovative thinking in the students, though with a set of establishments, and a lot of schools who are present out here have really successfully deployed Atal Tinkering Labs in their own characteristic fashion. I would request Dr. Aisha Chaudhary to please accept a small token of thanks for making it to this coveted platform from our chairperson, Mr. R.K. Vash. And we would certainly be requesting ma'am beyond this learning forum as to how to involve the universities in the shaping up of the Atal Tinkering Labs further in the light of what Professor Agrawal talked about to make it more meaningful. I would request Professor K.K. Agrawal to please accept a humble token of thanks from this August forum for his really illuminating and wisdom-stridden words, and which are not just words, they are action elements, each and every element of it. उन्होंने कहा ना पहले सरकारों में जब काम होता है तो पहले कहते हैं जमीन कहाँ है, बिल्डिंग कहाँ है, फंड्स कहाँ हैं. इन्होंने कहीं ना कहीं से ही created a medical college out of nothing. Otherwise they say 150 crores to create a new medical college. So this is the kind of I would say the work which he has done has shown us the way that where there is a will there is a way. It just needs a little bit of tinkering, I would say. So we end up this session. Thanks a lot for all your patient hearing. We have a very lovely session next coming up and a very eminent galaxy of speakers. I would invite Dr. Ashok Jain, the senior professor in the Delhi University and the president of MOSAI. MOSAI happens to be the, I'm still struggling with its full form, but it is the Scholars Association of the Japanese Students of India, in India, like the students who had gone to Japan. So, sir will tell it. I apologize for not meeting Dr. Ashok Jain. So, he would be giving the keynote address on imperatives of internationalization of India's education for the creation of New India. I would like to invite Madam Anjali Agrawal, Honorable Principal of St. Mark's School, Delhi. Madam's profile in this Progressive Principles of India coffee table book is all full of magnanimous work on how she has internationalized her school education from one project to another. There is a whole, the chapter is really mind-boggling. So she is a keynote speaker on this session, and she would be talking about the grinding which is required for internationalizing your institution. I would also like to invite Madam Namrata Jha, who is the Executive Director India at the Duke University. Ma'am Jha will be speaking about the US educational ecosystem and the eye-to-eye partnerships in the context of Duke University. Ma'am, please. So, internationalization of education is a very predominant thematic which is evolving over a period of time. Like futurism is one of them. What is in future? So, wo time mein hai. And the other thematic is globally. In India, like as Professor Gudev Sharma talked, and it was a very succinct, brief, I would say encrypted talk, I would say, using the computer science aphorisms, encryption. So our Vedas have said, Ano Bhadraha Kratvo Vishwantu Yataha. Let noble thoughts come to us from all directions. So India has never been a very closed country. It has always been at the forefront of accepting any learning, any idea from anywhere it's possible. And this was what Swami Vivekananda, I would say, ushered at 9/11, 1893 at the Chicago convention, that we have just accepted good learnings, we have assimilated it in our life. So what Pawan Gupta sir said from a folklore perspective, what Professor Gudev Sharma talked from a Vedic systematic perspective, what Professor K.K. Agrawal talked from his academic learnings and leanings, that perspective, it's all adding up, it's all assimilating. These are not disjoint sets, it's an all integrated whole. And that is probably the synthesizing of it all is the purpose of education. So the purpose of this session is to lay open for our school community that internationalization of education has to be a dominant advancement goal. Now, internationalization from two dominant perspectives, generally we understand let global students come to our campuses, and that's a good part. India always invited global students across the globe. Seekers and learners have come in the past. In the modern times, the statistics say that we just invite 25,000 students from across the globe, while we export close to 450,000 students abroad. Now, this is a big concern. Government of India recently launched a program called Study in India. HCL chairman was to come. There was an emergency at his hometown back. Being a Friday, he rushed back. So Study in India program talks about building brand India across the globe as to how we can attract global students to India, apart from the ICCR, I would say scholarships and all that stuff. That is one part of it. The other part, which we at Reaching India feel is very much important, it is learning from global best practices. The best practices of Finland, the best practice of US, UK, Australia, Canada, the entire advanced learning ecosystems, and which somewhere have the elements what our previous speakers have talked about. So I would like Dr. Ashok Jain to initiate this session formally as to what he thinks from his great experiences of over 3 decades, the imperatives of internationalization of India's education for the creation of a new India. Sir, please.
Namaskar, good afternoon to all of you. I must say that Rethink India, whenever I meet Raga or others, always it's refreshing, new things, new cutting across boundaries. I think this session is in a sense continuation of the earlier session, where Professor Agrawal talked about breaking the boundaries. And this is taking the breaking process beyond geographical boundaries. And we have two very eminent speakers. So I would not take your time in saying whatever I may wish to say, but maybe if we have time after this spoken. So without further delay, may I request Dr. Anjali, the principal, to speak, please.
Okay, we would like to.
Is there any other protocol that I should have followed?
So let's start for this session, sir. We would like to invite His Excellency His Excellency Alain Tessé Walder Mariam, Honorable Ambassador of Eritrea to India. We are launching a very interesting initiative out here by the name of Edu Africa, where we are trying to connect the billion people of Africa to the billion people of India by way of education. So sir has come to unravel that initiative out here. Let's invite him.
Maybe sir should get the first preference since you are here, sir. May I request you to make your presentation first, with the permission of the other two speakers.
Good afternoon.
Just a small introduction, sir. We also have the Honorable First Secretary from the Embassy of Japan, His Excellency Masahiro Kobayashi. I would request Honorable Sir to please come on the dais. We may resume, sir.
I apologize first. I'm delayed. Excellencies, distinguished members on the dais, and gentlemen. I take this opportunity to thank the organizers of Education Africa Connect for inviting me to this important meeting. The name you have asked me to take about the thinking education in Africa is very important. The long-term sustainable growth and prosperity of any country or continent is directly linked to the quality of its people, and the quality and productivity of a country's population cannot be divorced from the quality and the relevance of the education of the people. Indeed, the level, quality, and relevance of education is a key determinant of the quality and productivity of the people, and this helps drive economic growth and the national output. It is therefore imperative that each country invests in developing its education system. In Africa, we inherited a colonial education system that was developed to educate job seekers instead of entrepreneurs and job creators. The consequence has been that we have largely kept it in place in the education system that produces skills that are not relevant to the provision of solutions to the various development challenges we face. There is a total mismatch between the skills that our schools and universities produce and the job market requirements. This has led to rising unemployment. Most of the graduates our universities and college productive are white-collar jobs seekers, mostly competing for the few and ever shrinking public and government jobs. This has stalled the private sector and blue-collar manufacturing and productive sectors of the relevant skills needed for the growth and development. Ladies and gentlemen, the above case I have depicted is the best case scenario. The reality is that in most of our countries, access to education is still very low and literacy level remain unacceptably high. There is therefore need to rethink and reform our education systems to address these anomalies. One, we need to create an education system that produces graduates commensurate with the job market needs and demand. Our graduates should be able to absorb into private sector jobs in ICT, banking, manufacturing, engineering, and other productive sectors of the economy. Two, we must train entrepreneurs and job creators instead of job seekers. Three, access to education must be easy so that we ensure the majority of our children are not denied the right to education and that literacy levels are significantly raised. We know that the longer girls stay in school, the larger the education of child marriage and the teenage pregnancies, and the better of the family will be. Returns to investment in education are much higher than we can imagine. 4, education infrastructure, curriculum, and use of ICT must be enhanced to ensure quality education and better education outcomes. These are very few of the many reforms and changes we need to improve Africa's education system. Distinguished participants, India and Africa have worked together and have a vibrant partnership in education. The Pan-African network has enabled access to education delivered by Indian universities in African graduates using technology. This needs to be scaled up and continued. ICCR scholarships and the ITech programs have combined to offer options for academic programs and short-term skills development. Africa has largely benefited from this. We also have thousands of African students who have come to India to gain good quality education. This partnership must continue. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe this conference provides the right platform to generate ideas on how to rethink education. I look forward to learning from the deliberations and hope that the outcome of the conference will be shared with a wider African audience. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thanks a lot, sir. Earlier, Pawan sir said that Indians are programmed for uncertainty, so this session has really gone from the reverse side. Thanks a lot, sir, Honorable Excellency, for your address. EduAfrica is an aspirational program, and I would request Professor Michael Barenpass from Sharda University, who is the HOD Study Abroad Programs, also to join in on the stage for these valued deliberations. So first and foremost, a bit of a ceremoniality. I would request the dignitaries on the dais to please release this launch creative of this program called EduAfrica. Africa is a very interesting continent. It has a billion-plus population, and it happens to be the youngest continent on the planet. I would request the dignitaries to please release this for a small photo op over there. And despite the burgeoning Indo-African bilateral relationship across the Indian Ocean, India simply attracts merely 5,800 African students to our shores. And this is owing, as experts say, owing to a host of issues and a lack of concerted and streamlined EduAfrica Connect. So this EduAfrica Connect program of Reaching India intends to create a capacity in the Indian institutions to accept the African students at large, debunking the various myths which are associated, and also then they can cater to the specialized needs of these African students. So this is a small EduAfrica program. If you can just, Tilakji, please, for a photo op, if it can be released. Just be done? Yeah, perfectly. So this got inspired from another program which we are running with Japan. Yeah, it's a release, ma'am. Formally, we just got a call from MEA also. They would be coming at 3, so maybe another release we will be making that time. So this is all inspired from Dr. Jan's insistence, where he inspired us to connect the Indian students to the Japanese educational ecosystem. So over there, the inclination is that Japan attracts a meager 1,000 Indian students, despite being the third largest economy on the globe, and India and Japan having civilizational connects. So similarly, on the western side of India, we have Africa. So we still have just 5,800 students out here. So there are a host of issues, as we have mentioned out there. And I would request Professor Michael Barenpass about his personal experiences, because Sharda University is one of the global universities, like the word is here, it remains there, punchline. So what is his experiences pertaining to internationalization of higher education at Sharda? I would request Professor Barenpass to please illumine the audience out here. Yes, please.
Good morning, and thank you for inviting me. I am Michael Barenpass. I'm taking care of study abroad programs and international relations in Sharda University. I am international faculty in India. Initially, I come from Greece. Greece is also a country that has a very, very long literary and educational tradition. Well, I heard very, very carefully what you have made, the point that you have made before in here, that at the present time we have something like 4 lakh something, yes, 400,000 Indian students going abroad, and only 25,000 students coming to India for study. And that was also the argument in a very large conference that took place a couple of years ago in Symbiosis International University in Pune, that touched the same subject, why this is happening. Well, my experiences right now from the place where I work, what we do. Sharda University, the #1 private university in India, as per Association of Indian Universities 2017 survey, in terms of international students, with approximately 1,600 international students in a single campus, and #6 in India overall, in terms of international students. And I've been in India from 2009 for 8.5 years, trying to internationalize this place. It hasn't been easy. My experiences tell me that in order to attract foreign students in India, you have first of all to innovate. You have to have a strong education, informative, and you have to provide solutions and knowledge to the students. India has the capacity to do that. You have great scholars, you have great faculty, you have great engineers, you have a very, very long tradition in sciences, in engineering, in all the areas. What you need, though, to do is more opening, more connections with international organizations, with international universities, with governments. Say hello to my very good friend, the ambassador we met in your embassy, sir, some time ago. It's Professor Michael. You need to visit places. You need to invite people from abroad. You need to internationalize make the system more international. Bring foreign teachers, adopt methods, communicate. You have the talent in India already, but the world is large. So what will attract, from my experience, students, international students in India? In Sharda University, we have students from Korea, Mexico, the United States, Brazil, Africa, of course, Nepal, Bhutan, Europe, Germany, Russia. Is knowledge and the willingness to internationalize, to offer international education, to exchange things. It's not easy, it takes time, but connections are important. Connections and adopting new systems, embracing international knowledge. It takes time, but India has the talent to do it. I'm very optimistic about India. Statistics show that this situation is changing, and more international students are coming to India, not only from Africa, from other countries as well, around the globe. Because India has a lot to offer in all areas to the international educational community. This is what I had to tell you from my experiences, and thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Professor Barampas. He has certainly exhibited his confidence into the Indian education ecosystem and given some of the advisories as to how to internationalize education, especially in the higher education spectrum. I would now like to invite Madam Anjali Agrawal, the principal of St. Mark's School, Delhi. One of the very interesting aspects is how she has really internationalized the entire curriculum at her school with a range of projects which her students are doing over there. Ma'am, the audience would love to hear you on your vast spectrum.
Good afternoon, everyone. All the distinguished guests on the dais and off the dais. I would really like to thank Rethink India for inviting me here, and of course recognizing the work which my institution is doing. I am just a simple principal of a simple school. It's a CBSE school in West Delhi. One of those, well, it's a good school in its standing, and we're trying to do the best we can given the situation in which we are in right now. My school, St. Mark's School, what is education in my school? Education, I feel, is the all-round development of a child, mind, body and soul. Everyone knows that. We all try to do that in every institution altogether. And I have been asked to speak on the grind behind internationalizing my institution. So let me talk about it. What exactly do we mean by internationalization or globalization of education? I'm talking about it from a school's point of view. What does it mean? Does it mean having an international curriculum and having your children appear in a lot of international Olympiads and getting recognition there? Or does it mean getting a lot of awards from various organizations, like even the British Council, the ISA award known as the International School Award, and so forth, getting all these awards? Or does it mean having global exchanges, sending your students out of the country and inviting in turn delegations from other countries? Or does it mean teaching foreign languages? Does it mean having a lot of foreign students in your school? Students from out of the country? Really? I want to know, does that make up global education? Maybe these are all points which can be kept in mind. But truly globalizing or internationalizing education does not need to depend on all these various factors. I feel that it is basically a process of integrating an international, intercultural, and a global dimension to your own curriculum. And basically integrating it into the teaching and learning process. And this, my dear friends, is very difficult if you are running a simple CBSE school in the heart of Delhi, and that too in one of the suburbs, because you have to battle with the attitude of the teachers, the attitude of the parents, the attitude of the community, because for them education means, most of them, I'm not saying everybody, but many parents believe that a good education means getting a good 12th class board certificate with above a 90% marks in their certificate. So this is what we are battling about. And of course, but in spite of all these problems, many years ago we sat down and we thought about what it would mean to have a global dimension in our school, and we realized what the benefits would be. Not only would knowledge be accentuated, knowledge versus information, of course, as remember what Mr. Pavan Gupta had to say. Real in-depth knowledge would really be appreciated in these students. Tolerance and understanding. And children would end up being really, truly global citizens. Yes, the world is one small family and it's getting smaller and smaller, or larger and larger as people may see it. But do we really have, and would we be able to do it? So we started it out in a small way, because we realized that having global citizens in itself would mean spreading peace in the world. And that is what our ultimate aim and objective was, to make children friends with the rest of the world. Our students, let them be friendly and open with the rest of the world. So we started our journey off in the year 2004. And if you don't mind, I'll just take you on the steps which we took as we started this journey. The first thing we realized is that we had to have a strong IT base, because to make the world smaller, children and teachers, in fact the entire faculty, had to have a good grounding in IT so that you could connect easily with the rest of the world. So it started in 2004. We used the internet and became friends with Dr. Magnus Johnson of Ebba Pettersson School in Gothenburg, and another teacher, Miss Daniela from Colleferro, Rome. In the next 2 years, we worked on projects together. There was one project known as Weber, an online magazine with Mr. Magnus, and another project called The World in a Book with Miss Daniela. 2 years we spent in working on these projects together. And in the year 2006, our projects ended up getting a lot of recognition, and we had teachers from Ohio, USA, 2 teachers who came and visited us during Diwali time and got to see our Diwali festivities. And this was the first visit we had from teachers from abroad. In 2007, our contribution to this Weber, this online magazine, was funded by the Swedish government. And it was appreciated so much that we got the admin rights to run it. And a 5 faculty group from Sweden came over to India to visit us and to see how we did our work. Then the government of Sweden gave my teachers a fully sponsored trip to Sweden. 4 of my teachers had the privilege to visit that country, visit the schools in that country, and to learn from the countries there. Ebba Pettersson being one of the schools amongst them. 2008, we joined another organization known as the Asia Europe Foundation Classroom Network. And we attended their annual conference, which was in Malaysia. And since then, there's been no looking back. We have attended all their annual ASEF conferences. And in fact, we organized one in the year 2010. In 2010, it was hosted in India for the first time. And our school was granted the privilege and the honor to host it. It was a huge conference with more than 100 teachers coming from 64 countries, hosting them for 4 days, organizing a conference of that magnitude. We had to take the help of our education ministry, and in fact the HRD ministry was kind enough to sponsor it, sponsor a certain part of it, but otherwise our school was the host over here. So that also was a great step in bringing us into contact with so many schools all over the globe. In fact, recently, last year in the month of September, I was honored to be a speaker in Zug, Switzerland, on in a conference, Theory Meets Practice. It was how teacher training should be evolving in this digital era. 2009, we sent delegations to Singapore, and we were invited, my students were invited to participate in a climate camp in Denmark, where they had the honor to meet the Crown Prince of Denmark too. By 2010, we were doing 20 online projects in a great way, and 250 students from classes 9 to 11 participated in all these projects. By the way, that was in the year 2009. Today it is 2018, and we have more than, I would say, 65% of the school participating in various online projects with all these organizations.